ready to roll?
We are recording.
Okay, we will do any comments from citizens present. Doesn't look like anyone is here. Approval of the minutes from November 10th, 2020 meeting.
This is Katie. I'll move that we approve.
A second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous approval. Okay, then we are going to move up. And I'm going to find it here. Under ordinances, number 3, an ordinance to amend building permit fees.
All right, so this is a while back, Jim Scholander had gone and done some review for us. We have not revised many, if any, of our building code fees in some time. And as you'll see from what was attached, included in the packet, there are a lot of changes and updates that Jim found were kind of called for. And I guess I'll let him correct me, but I think most of these are just kind of based upon his review of kind of what is common, both compared to what our actual costs are, but as well as what is commonly charged in the area. I don't know, did you guys see the email I kind of sent late today? I had a couple of last minute minor changes, and then I also just wanted to mention and make sure Jim understood. He had another handful of additional fees that will probably be coming back to you next month, but they all kind of were of a kind that I hadn't satisfied myself yet whether we need to write some kind of substantive language in the ordinance or whether we could just add them as fees. And since I had kind of held this up longer than I wanted to at least get the ones that we were clear about, which is the majority of them, going and hopefully to council next week so that we can start out 2021 with at least most of our building code fees updated, and with a few others maybe lagging behind just a little bit. But otherwise, as I said, I suggested that Jim, if he could, appear tonight in case anybody had any questions about the fee changes.
I do have one thing real quick, Matthew, and you made the changes for that erosion control up at the very top of the page. The second listing down, new construction building permits, erosion control, $200, that can be completely removed off because it's the same as it's for the UDC, which is the one, two,
the other, okay.
One down, yeah. The commercial has its own separate fee that's through Public Works. It's not part of the building permit schedule fee for commercial erosion control. So it's just the single family we need in that. And the two family.
So that would be one additional change that I just delete both of those then.
Matt, this is Katie. I was actually looking at that there's a single family $150, two family $200. Am I looking in the right place?
Correct.
Residential $50. And so what's the difference between the residential $50 and the single family $150?
So, well, that's two different things. Down there where it's single family $150, two family $200, that's the erosion control permit. The two family is a bigger plan. There's more for us to review. There's more for us to inspect on a two family versus a single family, depending on the project. So the two families usually are a little bit more all the way around.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
That $50 one is actually the base fee for electrical.
Okay,
residential and the
next
commercial.
Line. Okay,
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, the
Thank
single
you.
family 150, the two family 200 should stay. And then the one that's up towards the top that says erosion control 200 should be completely removed.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, here, right, okay. Yep. Got that. Okay.
Okay.
So
Any
then
other-
later on in January, Matt, you'll just come with something for us to amend then?
Yeah, it'll be another one. It won't certainly be as many of these fees. I think there are maybe about 4 or 5, something like that, of various things that, like I said, I just want to make sure. Some of them, I think we might actually have to put something else in our ordinance along with the fee change, and I just hadn't worked that out. But like I said, I didn't want to hold up the rest of these while I figured the rest of that out, because like I said, this is the bulk of the changes that really need to be made, and I like most of them, as I'm sure Jim would, to kind of be able to start out sort of with the new year with everything.
The ones we're waiting on have to do with our new fire alarm, fire suppression delegation. Most, 90% of them do. There's one that's a solar, but the rest of them have to do with that delegation. We're still waiting for the state approval on.
Okay. Well, I would move approval to amend the building permit fees, the ordinance to amend the building permit fees.
I will second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we will move back up to license and permit. Number 1, review of an application to amend the agent for the alcohol beverage license held by Cost Plus Incorporated, doing business as Cost Plus World Market, Middleton, 1700 Deming Way, Suite 110, to appoint Heather Lazar, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as agent.
No issues here on the background or anything, so no problems with the PD.
All right, I will move that we approve this.
I will second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. License and permit, item number 2, application for a combination Class B beer and Class B liquor quota license by Grace Coffee Middleton LLC, doing businesses Grace Coffee Middleton, 1824 Parmenter Street, Carlos Falcon, 432 West Gorham Street, Madison, as agent.
And again, no issues here. Just a little background on this, if it's sounding very familiar. It's because they came last time and they had actually applied for a full liquor license to serve on premises, and they did not need that. So that has slipped by us. So Lori had contacted them, asked them if they'd be willing to give that up or if they needed it. They said they were very cooperative. They said, no, we don't need this. We don't want it. If somebody else can use it. So they're kind of back in limbo. They already had their fermented malt beverage license, so they're sticking with that right now. But that then opened up the full liquor license, which Grace Coffee had wanted, and they were on the waiting list for. So again, just since last month, we had approved the fermented malt beverage for I can't think of the name of it, Grace Coffee. So again, no issues from the PD end of things here.
Okay, I would move approval of this.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance, item number 1, an ordinance relating to appointment procedures and terms of city boards, committees, and commissions.
So where we left off was, let me get down to that part. Oh wait, was this? Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong part of the packet. Yeah, so we had left on, I think the last one we went through was CLC, which yeah, so I think we're now on page page 3. I can't remember if we went. Sorry, I didn't mark this. Had we gone through the Commission on Youth? Yeah, I think so.
Let's see.
I'm showing where I'm marking on on my note sheet, looking as CLC being the first one that to go through now.
Well, let's just take a quick review of, it'll refresh our memory if we look at the golf course committee, and if it looks all familiar, then we can just move ahead. Because there were some. Okay. Conservancy lands, yeah.
So we're kind of looking at that too, as we discussed from what we had before too. I made some changes to, our sort of base rules to change the appointments. So we keep the alder person appointments on kind of the current schedule. So any positions for alder persons will be made on the third Tuesday in April for 1-year terms beginning on the first day of May. All the others get appointed, well, roughly, a month later. So that takes care of the
Right.
that issue of what happens if an alder isn't reelected or doesn't run again. But
yeah, and then you got the mayor designee. That's good. That sounds good.
Right.
Yeah.
I also added a couple more sort of as I went through. I found some sort of general things like, who should call the meetings. So I added those to some of the general provisions, what a quorum generally is.
I had a couple questions on that, under 5F. It said, by the chair, in the case of the chair's absence, the vice chair and the secretary, which there may not be a secretary, could it just say vice chair or other officer? Because we said that they would elect a chair and vice chair and officer as neat as.
Yeah, actually, what I meant to have here, I kind of adapt this language from elsewhere in the ordinance, but I think what I mean to be saying here is to put a period after vice chair. It's the secretary or ex officio staff member that's in charge of giving the notices, not calling meetings. So that should really be period, vice chair, period, delete, and the secretary, or delete and capital, the secretary or ex officio staff member shall give notices of meetings.
Okay, and the other question I had was under 5G, the quorum. Would it be clearer if it said the majority of the voting members? Because I think in some cases they have student members and.
Right, okay. Yes.
Good call.
Okay. So those were the major other changes. So then, I think we're on to.
Right. Conservancy lands, seems right.
Which is. I thought before I had noted the third page of this. So, 2.
6.
Okay, yeah. So I have this as number 15 of things being changed.
Okay.
And so here, I am Yeah, and I basically deleted all of the appointment language, repealed section 2, but then took there's some of the appointment language that really sort of deals with things that we need to still deal with. So
Mhm.
basically what things we needed to retain from 2, I have now added to 1. Just clarifying really some kind of procedural things, like some of these appointments that happen by virtue of being chair of whatever committee.
Right.
And then just deleting the residency thing because it's dealt with elsewhere in our general part. Yeah, that's all that needed. Yeah, that's about all that needed to be cleared up in CLC.
The tiny little thing on 17, the spelling of repealed, we need an E in there.
Oh, yes, we do. So at 2.18 is the Airport Commission. So here, yeah, we repealed that section 2. Yeah, because a lot of this is, again, just the terms and when the appointments are, and that seemed to all be pretty well consistent, except for there were 2-year terms for the alders and 3-year terms for the citizen members. So those will now be 1-year and 2-year terms, and then of course the appointment dates are going to be changed. Yeah, and so the only thing that then really remains there is just kind of clarifying that the mayor's designee basically just serves at the mayor's pleasure or concurrent with the mayor's term.
I like that specification. That's good.
Yeah. And so that's all the changes to that. So the next thing is the Emergency Medical Services Commission. So yeah, how constituted is all the same. And so here I decided to repeal and recreate the appointment terms. Trying to see what, main thing that really is changing is the citizen members only having 2-year terms. The rest of the substance, I think, is mostly the same, and it's just a lot of language being deleted because, again, of the timing of appointments and things like that. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what turned is, but that clearly needs to be fixed as well.
That's 3rd.
Yeah, it should be 3rd. Wait, I go through these things and it's amazing all the things that it will correct for me that I don't want corrected, and then it lets me do stuff like that.
It just makes me want to look it up and see if it's actually a word, because it's not like, okay.
3rd Tuesday, yes. So, I don't know if there are no questions there. The next would be tourism. Yeah, so a lot of, I have both sections 2, the appointment paragraph being repealed, as well as the organization. There's a paragraph in there about, when they do their voting for a chair, vice chair, and everything. That is now in the general part. Calling of the meetings, that's now in there. Also, didn't think there was any need for the Tourism Commission to be the only one. It had something about keeping a record of the proceedings. I actually put something in the general provisions for that as well. And then, so a lot of what remains is that's sort of necessary from the appointment stuff. I put all in how it's constituted, which is just, yeah, specifying who the, the various members, where they need to be represented. And so I've got one comment here, question being, yeah, we have currently in the ordinance, it's specified that for the hotel motel member, it's just representative of the hotel motel industry, whereas for the restaurant member, it's for just the restaurant industry. Now, I forget how old this ordinance is, but I'm guessing that at the time we adopted this, we did not have as many hotels as we do now. I'm not sure what we're up to now versus before, but I just flagged this to question whether we want to also specify in the city of Middleton for the hotel motel industry, or if we still feel we need to go broader than that.
Julie, do you want to weigh in on this, the changes?
Sure. Thank you, Kathy. This is Julie Peterman, Director of Tourism. Excuse me for the record. We are at 8 hotels right now, Matt, with another possible coming online either in 21 or 22. So I don't think we need to broaden the scope.
Well, I guess
as far as the boundaries.
Yeah. Well, it would be, I guess it wouldn't be broadening it. Do we think we should actually narrow it? Right? The existing language is actually very broad. It would allow us to have a hotel motel industry representative from, well, and I suppose too, thinking about it, I don't know if is a hotel and motel industry representative necessarily somebody working for, I suppose it kind of is, actually working.
Yeah, I think the point behind that, Matt, in the state statute was that the entities that are actually collecting the room tax,
right, exactly,
have a voice in how that room tax is being spent.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. But like I said, I think when we initially drafted this, we didn't restrict those representatives to being representatives from hotels in the city of Middleton, because I think at the time we did not have as many. But it sounds to me like now we have many more. That do we want to now say no? Those representatives should be, because for that purpose, I mean, it's the hotel motel operators in the city of Middleton who are paying the taxes, not representatives from elsewhere. And
I think we want it in the city of Middleton.
okay, so I will.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Dan.
Yeah, okay, I thought so, which is
Yeah,
why
they
I
should-
already kind of penciled it in, but I
Yeah.
thought I could highlight it.
Yeah, they should have a say in how their dollars are being spent.
Right. Well, and I expect our representatives from the hotel motel industry have probably for a long time been Middleton hotel motel people. So this would be, I think,
Just codifies it.
yeah, a formal
clarifies
change
things.
rather than an actual. But
Yeah.
Julie, would you like to weigh in on whether you think we're changing the terms of the people on the Tourism Commission to be 2 years? Is that?
Kathy, the state statute indicates 1 year, and I don't know how closely we have to mirror what the state statute requires.
Well, let me double check. I thought I looked at that, but okay, I'll double check.
I think too, Matt, the state statute calls out the body, who needs to be represented on the body.
Yeah, that's
You see
correct.
that?
And we're not changing any of that.
Okay.
It's, yeah. If we are not constrained by statute to changing this to a 2-year, constrained by statute to changing these to 2-year terms, would we be fine with that, or do we think it should stay 1 year?
I would personally support having longer terms for folks for continuity's sake. And it would also be helpful if we could stagger terms. But again, I don't know because of that state statute, how much latitude we have with that. Because right now, every year, there's a possibility that the whole commission could turn over the way it currently states.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that would go hand in hand with whether we can, yeah, if, by definition, if everyone has a 1-year term, you can't stagger the terms.
Right.
So I'm pretty confident that if we can do a 2-year term, then we probably could stagger. And I did also, I thought I had added some language in our general, or no, I added at the very end of the ordinance, because we have so many places where we have either 2-year terms, some are 3 and everything. I kind of gave us a little safety valve to allow the council and to decide to stagger, either add a year or subtract 1 year one time to kind of reinstate a staggered process.
Sure, get a cadence rolling.
Exactly, yeah. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's going to be hard to foresee how these changes are necessarily going to play out across every committee, given the differences in terms that we're changing, so.
Sure.
Okay, so
I have a question on the members of the committee. They work for the hotel or motel in Middleton, or work in a restaurant, or work for a restaurant in the city of Middleton, but they don't have to actually live. They are representing the business. Now, the way we have this worded for a committee member, do we have to spell out in tourism that they don't have to be a Middleton resident?
I don't think that's how we've interpreted, but I can clarify that language. Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with the person's residency. It's all where the business is being operated.
What I'm saying, in the other committees and commissions, we've asked that they be citizens of Middleton, that doesn't carry forward into tourism, because they're representing businesses instead.
Right, and that's, yeah, it's a good point. It's another reason to clarify that further, because we are otherwise saying that we expect citizens. So I'll add some language to clarify
Just to tourism, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay.
So am I misremembering, and it's quite possible that I am, when we talked about if somebody's an expert in an issue on a committee, that we're not going to be super strict about their residency, or am I remembering that incorrectly? We are saying, yes, you have to be.
Yeah, well, let's see. We still have that language. I mean, we have the out,
Right.
but I think we had decided to sort of leave that in. So it's
Okay.
5C that we're.
I know we talked about that on the arts committee. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Or if someone moves away, they can complete their term,
Right. Yeah, that's it. That's
et
it.
cetera, et cetera. Okay, cool.
So if we're good on tourism, our next is Commission on Aging. This is another one. Yeah, actually here, I think we had, hold on a second. So we've got 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. No, I'm sorry. I did not repeal 6. There's a special quorum provision on the Commission on Aging. Okay, yeah, so the Constitution can remain the same. So the question I have here is, so there are 8 citizen members and 1 alder person. No, I suppose with 8 members, that would be, to have a majority, you'd need,
5.
oh, this is 8 citizen members and 1 alder person. So that's still just a majority. So I think 6 probably needs to be deleted as well. Yeah. So otherwise, though, I think everything we have up for the Commission on Aging is all in section 1.
Okay. Public safety.
Okay. So I recall most of these remainders are all kind of similar because they're all newer ordinances. So here in public safety was just deleting the appointment stuff. Again, that was all either the terms or the time of appointment. That just goes away. There's language here that says the chief of police shall be a permanent member of the committee, but may designate. I think just by virtue of the fact that the chief of police or his or her designee is a member necessarily means that the chief of police is a permanent member. I think that that whole section 2 can go. So that's all I've done to that one. So we're on to Public Arts Committee. Similar. Yeah, the appointment schedule is the only thing I got rid of there. And Sustainability Committee, you'll see just for the constitution of the committee, making it clear that the high school member serves a 1-year term, but all the other appointment stuff from sub 2 goes away because that's being repealed. Bicycle, head bike transit, similar change, just getting rid of any of the confirmation, timing, term length language in sub 2, and then
Okay.
Yep, that's all it's getting out of that.
3-1. Are we getting the commission shall elect a chairperson, vice chair, and secretary? We don't need the.
Yeah, no, that I put that.
That went up above.
That
Okay.
applies to everybody. So
that this has a special section on officers. So.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but that'll no longer be necessary.
Okay. I'm trying now. It said I'm trying to follow your notes, and it says 2.31 number 2. That's the terms of the appointment, but it doesn't say 3, which is officers. Yeah,
let's see. Do we not? Okay, my next one moves on to 2.32. So yeah, we should have something that deletes. You're right. That did not repeal.
and that could just be
Yeah, I'll just squeeze that in there.
okay.
That'll be a new 2.31. Yep.
Okay.
Then for 2.32, just stormwater utility board again, just getting rid of term of appointment and the officers provision. Everything else stays.
Okay.
Then 2.33, just kind of rewriting that to get out everything dealing with, because in the composition paragraph, there's also a lot of language about the terms and appointment and stuff that will no longer be there, but we kind of keep all the language that
Okay.
should remain. And then that's all that gets changed to that one. Workforce housing. Workforce housing is the last one. Yeah, and again, similar there. There's the quorum language and the appointment language. It looks like, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like I need to delete 4 there too. I don't know why I did not have sub 4.
Okay, this is chapter 2, and I don't know why. In chapter 18 is where it talks about landmark commission and that makeup.
Okay.
And it's under city boundaries, wards, and landmarks commission. So can we move landmarks commission, the makeup and a lot of that into section 2 and or chapter 2?
Don't know why not off the top of my head. Why don't I look at that?
Well, it has a lot of the same things: purpose, intent, makeup, composition, yeah, powers and duties.
Right. I mean, I think by and large everything should be, similar things in there. I don't know if there's any reason why. No reason why that's just in 18 that I can think of.
Okay.
So what I guess I would, well, maybe it's there because that's the title of the whole chapter. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, there maybe should be at least some consistency, and maybe we change some stuff and reference I don't know. Let me take a look at that.
Yeah, well, you could do landmarks commission. It's defined in chapter 2.
Yeah. Let me think about the best way to kind of massage that, because I guess what I was going to suggest, especially since I do have a few other changes to make, and because this is likely to be sort of overwhelming to the council, is that if everything kind of looks like we think we have it how we want it, what I would do is we should kick this over for one more meeting. I'll make the other changes that we've talked about, and then for the next meeting, maybe prepare sort of a report that will describe, as a result of doing this, what are going to be the changes that are made to each of these committees, so that the rest of the council doesn't have to go through and look at that. You can kind of read it in a little more of a narrative form and understand a little better. And then we'll have the committee sort of adopt this report.
Sounds good.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
And I can check all my typos and everything too before.
Well, you want to do it before it gets to council.
Or we hit the big time.
That looks great, Matt. Thank you. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Got through that a lot quicker than I thought.
Yeah, the rubric,
yeah.
unplug that, we plug that in this day. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Well, it did help that, like I said, a lot of the later ones were a little bit more consistent and had more consistent formatting and how we worded things. So yeah, I guess the first half was a lot harder than the second half was.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Okay. Well, we'll bring that back in January then. Okay. And then we'll go on to ordinance number 2, an ordinance to add stop signs to South Avenue at Middleton Street. I'll move approval.
There you
I'll
go.
second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. No one opposed, motion carries. Good deal. Okay, let's see. Got the building. Moving on to miscellaneous. Discussion on the likelihood of special event permit approval for 2021 New Year's Day dash.
Yeah, so, well, we pretty much just wanted to present the proposal, the event proposal that was included in the packet to the committee, and just get some feedback and realistic thoughts on the likelihood of the event even being able to take place. We know it's a long shot, and I do have Garrett is on the line. He's with Race Day Events, Garrett Wilson. So if you have any specific questions, or I mean, it's very tricky. Garrett created the proposal back when the outdoor gathering limit was at 25 people. It's obviously since then gone down to 10. So he revised the proposal based on that, and that order is set to expire on December 16th, but that's obviously yet to be seen, and we all know it could easily be extended, or on the off chance that it is expired, I think Garrett just wanted to be ready with some plans in place. So I don't know, Garrett, if you want to chime in at all.
Yeah, basically I'm just here to see like everybody's feelings, like even if it does bump up back up to 25, like, and you guys don't want to have this event, I want to gauge your feelings so we can work together on this and maybe or maybe not do an event.
My initial thought was that I was like, oh God, trails, that's going to force people to bunch up a little bit. But I really do like the wave idea. Do you have people, I guess I didn't see if you have people enter based on an estimated time. Do you waive them that way?
Yeah, they sign up in 15-minute like time periods, and we'll do, if it bumps back up to 25, we do 2 waves of 10 in that 15-minute period. So we do 10 people in a 5 to 7 minute period. Then there's a small break, and then there's another 5 to 7 minute period of 10 people. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Nothing, just that I was worried about being on trails and, you know, outside with masks, outside, the air exchange is definitely better than inside. So I'm less concerned about this than I would be about other events. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, Kathy.
They don't need any permits or anything to do this, do they, at 25?
Technically, I mean, the special event permit is required for 200 plus. So technically, no.
Well, or if it requires any road,
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I think triggers it here. It's
road closures, yeah. But as far as the actual
I
social
have
event,
pushed everybody off onto sidewalks, and I have minimized my road usage, but there are still a few spots where roads need to be given at least a curb lane.
So we really didn't get any application material, just an outline of what's going to happen. So there's nothing I don't think we can.
I submitted an application.
I don't have it in the packet is what I'm.
Sorry.
yeah, no, I didn't submit the application just because technically if it doesn't meet the 200 people, there wouldn't be a special event permit needed. But
Okay.
I mean, not to say, you know, if the order expires, then, you know, I guess there is the potential that could be a possibility. But yeah,
I guess I'm confused if it's the 200, but if it needs, if it's on the road, does it need any special permitting for that then? That would need an application?
Yeah, there would need to, well, Jeremy, would it be just a road closure permit?
So there's in his proposal, there's no road closures, there's road usage. But, and correct me, I'm not looking at it right now, I'm trying to pull up the application, but Matt, if there's no actual closure of roads and it's under 200, his proposal also says 250.
Right.
I'm double check. I can't remember if we state road closure or just use of roads.
let me,
I'm scrolling down to it. Special event means any event requiring the closure of any street, road, highway, or trail, or any concert, show, performance, marathon, parade, yada, yada, or any such activity or gathering of persons upon public property that is organized primarily for the purpose of amusement, athletic competition, charity, commemoration. I mean, I think it's,
so it's, so it's a 7.17, parent 1 says permit is required. No person shall engage in, participate in, aid, form, or start any special event on public property unless a special event permit has been issued.
right,
That's relatively generic.
yeah. And it's both closure of streets, roads, highways, but, or,
Okay, so you're looking down in the definitions
Yeah.
section there? Okay.
Well, to Kathy's point, you can certainly make an argument that the interpretation is you would need a special events permit.
yeah.
Do they need one for any loudspeaker equipment? I
That's
didn't see any.
amplified sound permit, so it's separate.
Mhm.
That would
Normally
fall.
they go hand in hand.
Are they planning on you, Garrett, are you planning on any amplified sound for this? Because we don't have.
It was originally planned to be with sound, but since we've had to move to COVID, it's moved to a much more hustled along. So we're not having people stay at the start, so we don't need amplified sound.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're seeing the applications that we normally would have to have on file for this. And right now I have the plan, the proposal, but I didn't see any of the other documents, the permits and stuff, and I don't know which ones you needed, so.
Yeah, and I think the thought was just mainly to present you, the committee, with the proposal to get your feedback on, what route we should take and whether it would be possible to get an approval of a permit. And again, without knowing what's going to happen on December 16th, it's
But I
still.
guess my question is, we can give you feedback, but we won't meet again until January, which wouldn't allow for any approval process if needed, so.
Right. True.
Okay, because the event would be over before it gets to us. Well, at this point, I don't know that we can, we just don't know.
So, I gotta find my.
If I could jump in, this is Abby Van Valkenburg. I work with Garrett at Race Day Events. Thank you for letting me tag on to this meeting. Wondering your input on, I guess, because we're in the same boat you guys are, we don't know what's gonna happen come the 16th. Do you guys have a strong feeling if come the 16th, if they stay at the 10 people they are now, we all know that's this event, we don't feel there's any way that can happen at that amount of people. But if it does go back up to the 25 people at that point, is that something you guys might feel more comfortable or do feel comfortable with? I guess that's what we're trying to feel out is come next week, if they do put it back up to that 25 person threshold, what are your feelings on that? Just so we know if it does happen, I guess what our next move might be. I know it's a hard question.
Well, my thought is runners are I don't mean to generalize in any, maybe I shouldn't generalize, but Runners would be, I would think, concerned about their health and not willing to just go gather in a group if they didn't feel comfortable. I don't know how, do you have a sense that you could actually get 200 people?
Yes. Yeah, we do have around 200 people registered as of this moment.
Wow.
And we have actually put on a couple other events, not in Dane County. We do another winter run series that's has been in Oconomowoc area that we've had to kind of fluctuate locations over there due to COVID. And that's been an event that we've had in the past years. But we did have one back in October and one in November, and then we have one coming up here at the end of December that have been around roughly 250 people who have showed up to run, with a very similar model to what Garrett is presenting, where we do different people starting. This one actually is, the one that Garrett is presenting is a lot more, I guess, modified to be even extra careful, mostly because of Dane County's rules right now. The one we've been doing outside of Dane County, we've actually been doing, I believe it is one person every 10 seconds, roughly. And that actually has spaced out really well. And we aren't seeing mass gatherings of people out. Sorry, I apologize. We're not seeing the mass gatherings out on the course. And the way that Garrett has, I apologize. We're not seeing the people out there the way Garrett is presenting it. It really is, especially with the course he's presented past, because they're never coming back on that path. They're only going one way. So they truly are going through the course, finishing, and the start and finish is separate. So they will finish, they will go to their cars, and they will move on. So it has been significantly modified to try to make this as safe as possible. And athletes have shown us the last few events that we have done that they just want to run. They don't care that we're doing it much more low key. And they have followed the rules very well with wearing masks up to the start, doing their run, putting their mask back on, and taking off. So everyone has done a really good job. Athletes, and I guess producers, not just us, but other ones we have seen in the Wisconsin area.
So then what you're saying is you have enough staff or help to kind of keep people moving along. So, I mean, people's natural tendency is to congregate when they're done with something like this. So do you have people at the finish line that then move people along, and so that
Yes.
you don't?
Yep, absolutely. We pretty much, there's a table that will have water bottles, and it's self-serve, so they'll grab their own water bottle, as well as their medal, and they'll grab that on their own, and they will walk away. We've pretty much, we shoo them away as politely as possible, but no one they really aren't gathering like they were, like they have in a normal year. They truly are moving on and going to their car. We are not seeing gatherings. We aren't doing awards afterwards. We're not posting results. That's all online. So there's really nothing left for them to do but go home, especially when it's cold out. They just want to get in their car and go home.
Yeah, and Kiva's not open. It's not like they can go in and like all huddle in the building.
No, we will not be promoting that.
Good.
So I'm not sure if that helps, but I'm not sure if that gives any more sense of feeling next week, whether if we get this extension of the Dane County ruling or not. But we definitely want to, as Garrett said, we want to be partners with you guys. We're not trying to ruffle any feathers. We want to do it safe for everyone. So we have a great relationship with the city of Middleton, but want to kind of see your feelings and what we can do to make it work for everyone. And if we have to cancel, we have to cancel. This won't be the first time this year, so we understand.
Well, I would vote to go for it,
But without, do we need, So we have, if this is a 250 person or registered, we should have some permits here to look at, right? Or no?
Typically, yes.
So we can't really approve anything without the right permits presented to us. We have nothing to approve.
Right. And I guess if this event were to take place with 250 people, I mean, granted, 250 people wouldn't be gathering at one time, but as a whole, yes, it could potentially get that large. So do you feel that that would fall into the category of needing a special event permit?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
But again, it's not just the people, it's also the use of public streets.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah, it would, at that number of people, it would need a permit.
So if the order does go back to 25 on December 16th or soon after, if we well, and I guess I apologize. I realized that the application wasn't going to be able to be approved, and obviously January would be too late, the next meeting, but I didn't think you'd be able to approve the permit anyway without knowing what that December 16th order is going to continue as.
Contingent.
We're kind of in no man's land because we don't even know what we're permitting if we permit something. You know, I totally understand the idea of people being able to do something and get out in some recreation. I get all that, but we're just in such limbo. We have no idea what we can permit or what we can't permit. And with the short turnaround that we have of January 1st, I don't know that there's anything that we can do.
If with the permits were all presented, we could do something contingent on, but we don't even have that, so.
"2020 sucks."
Okay, so this was just a discussion, and we don't have to really make any, we don't have to vote on it, but just without the right permitting, there's nothing really we can do right now, I don't think. That said, are we all okay to move on to the next item? Miscellaneous number 2, discussion on possibility of increasing the quota for certain alcohol licenses in the city. Now this we can get behind.
So just kind of a basic, and maybe Matt delivered an opinion via email to Lori and I on this, so he can chime in too. But this kind of came about with the issue with Grace Coffee as well. So Lori started looking into it, and a couple of hotels, and I included part of that email, or one of those emails in the packet here. But so we have a couple of hotels that were issued Class C licenses a while back, and Lori, and when I say a while back, I'm talking like 2004, 2005. So only restaurants can get Class C licenses. And so we started kind of talking about what is definition of a restaurant, which is pretty generic, quite honestly. It says you have to serve food to transients, I think is what the actual statute says. So they may or may not qualify. Lori's going to do some follow-up on that. But then we ran into this issue with the Middleton Express, and we've reached what I'm told, and this is before my time, was a self-imposed quota on licenses for serving off premises, which is all that Holiday Inn wants to do. They just want to be able to serve alcohol to patrons, which would include wine, for consumption in their room. They don't have a bar. They never plan on getting one. So that's how this all started. And then Matt suggested that we put it here for a discussion.
So yeah, some years ago, this ordinance, and I can't remember who was all on L&O when it got proposed, but right about the same time where it sort of became a trend, I think this actually, it was the Walgreens application to have a Class A license that was pretty much the impetus for this. Once Walgreens wanted an alcohol license, and I think the Cops had just opened not too long before that, and they were selling alcohol, and I think there was a concern that, you know, basically every place was going to be selling alcohol. And these are common ordinances. It's certainly not just anything limited to Middleton, but it was set for a total of 12 combination licenses for selling liquor and beer, and a total of 20 standalone fermented malt beverage Class A licenses. And so again, Class A licenses are not on-premises consumption. This is, you know, buying closed packages and for consumption off premises. And so, you know, first, I guess my first comment on this is I don't think the kind of stores that operate out of the hotels are really kind of what anybody had in mind. It was, I think, pretty much proliferation of liquor stores and other types of retail also selling beer and alcohol. So, you know, we talked about increasing the quota as an option, or another option could be, you know, crafting an exception for these type of businesses. And I haven't really worked on any specific language, but, you know, given that there were some options to address this, and of course, not to be presumptuous that you want to make any accommodations, but given that it wasn't just a yes or no, but it could be a no or yes this way or yes this way sort of option, we thought we'd bring it to you for some discussion and kind of get your feelings on, one, whether you want to make any accommodations, and then two, if you do, would you prefer to just be increasing the quota numbers or making kind of an exception, some exception language for the hotels?
I guess I personally like the idea of exception language for the hotels. If you just increase the quota license, then you don't know. Having that kind of ability when you're at the hotels to buy some beer or wine, I think is a nice amenity for people that are, you know, visiting. But if you just increase the licenses, you may have a hotel that wouldn't be able to get one. I mean, when they wanted it.
Hey, you just end up with the same problem again. Do we need to raise the quota licenses later again?
Yeah.
So I agree with Kathy. I think the exception for that kind of business would be the way to go.
Agreed.
I'll put together some language and we'll take a look at it at the next meeting then.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to number 3, discussion on the enforcement of the city by the Public Health Madison and Dane County.
So I just wanted to bring this up. You guys may have seen another news article about a local Middleton business that has been, they're actually doing summons now. So the Bristle Boar Public Health, just want everybody to know, so whenever that happens, Public Health will generally contact the police department and will go with. That's led to a little bit of confusion as far as who is enforcing that. There's some additional confusion because we're involved in swearing to a complaint, so the Middleton Police Department's name is on it. So I was getting media calls and actually a call from the owner of the Bristle Boars asking why we were enforcing that. So the Middleton Police Department is not enforcing that order. If requested by Public Health, we do go with them, which is what happened in this circumstance when they were actually investigating any reported violations. So we go with them, but we are not taking any enforcement action. That's kind of our guidance to our officers has been, if you get those complaints, forward them on to Public Health. That's actually been Public Health's recommendation as well. So just wanted, if you guys are reading about any of that, or there was a WKOW news article on it. So if you saw that, just wanted you to know kind of where we stand on that, and that there has been another reported violation in the city of Middleton here. Just It's more info than anything.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda. We want to move adjournment?
I'll move adjournment.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, you too.
Stay